This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello, whatever time it is with you and wherever you are. Thank you for downloading this SmackDown review as part of the WWE podcast. It's an absolute pleasure to have you listening along once again. So I'm going to start with Survivor Series. What did you guys think? Overall, I think I was a little underwhelmed. Not massively underwhelmed, but enough underwhelmed. I enjoyed both of the War Game matches. The ladies' match was a little botchy at the start. I loved that EO spot off the top, which was the one in sync with Tiffy. I like the spectacle of that. The Bloodline versus Bloodline was good, but again, no Rock, which I think was a little bit surprising and also a little bit disappointing. So I don't know what we think happens now. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But all in all, a good match. So how did I score with my predictions? Let's have a really quick look at it. So I called it right first of all with Team Rhea winning, and again the cash-in teased but no follow through. And obviously guys, in trips I trust, but seriously they've got to let this happen soon, surely. I cannot be the only person getting a bit bored of this flirting around with the cash-in. Just let it happen. Let it happen. Next, I'm going to go to the men's War Games match. Happy to have got this one wrong. It was a win for the OG Bloodline, and no one turned on anyone. Not yet anyway, but as I said, no Rock. So I don't know what the next bit of the story is there. Gunther versus Priest for the title. Got this one wrong, and we had Gunther retaining and Finn again stick his nose in. Again, I feel like I'm whinging a lot already, but do something better with Finn. It's getting boring. He's got a lot of talent, and we could do more with him than just have him being obsessed with Priest. Intercontinental title, which was Braun Breaker versus Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser. Got that one right. Braun retains, nothing really much to say about that match. US title, LA Knight versus Shinsuke. Got this one right. Shinsuke wins the title and is a complete badass. So 3 out of 5. Not bad. Not bad at all. So I thought Raw was pretty awesome this week. I loved that New Day stuff. I did not see in a million years both Woods and Kofi turning on Big E. I don't think we've ever seen either of them as a heel. And oh my goodness, Big E's face when they turned on him, it was like someone had kicked his puppy. Seriously, it was awful. Dare I say, I do think I preferred this week's Raw to the actual Survivor Series. And then Drew, what an unexpected return. That was brilliant. Didn't see that coming, and I assume that he is now working on taking everyone out who's been on Punk's side. Because I'm assuming he's still completely obsessed with Punk. But let's see. Good to see Drew back and still as a heel. So let's get on with the reason that we're all here, which is the review of this SmackDown, which was from Minneapolis. And you definitely couldn't miss that tonight. They must have said it about 1 million times. And as expected, the show starts tonight with a recap of Survivor Series. And Cole and Corey tell us about 3 big-time injuries. First, we've got Bronson Reed. And in the slow-mo, ouch. When he went off the top, you can see his ankle go as he lands through the table in that tsunami. Cole tells us that he is out indefinitely and due for surgery next week. Looks really nasty. And then we've got Tongaloa, who got injured whilst getting smashed with the toolbox by Punk and has had to have surgery. He's already had his surgery on a torn bicep. And he'll be out indefinitely as well. And then finally we get Jimmy Uso, who has a broken toe, also in slow-mo, looked really painful. So all three men are out indefinitely, which looks like it's definitely going to have an impact on whatever plans there were for the Bloodline story. We get a reminder early on that we've got Street Profits versus Motor City Machine Guns for the tag titles tonight. And then we see the new Bloodline arriving. There's a bit of an argy-bargy in the queue to get into the arena. And they take out Apollo Crews and a bunch of security on the way in. Obviously in a bad mood after losing at Survivor Series. And obviously that's all creative I've got for Apollo Crews at the moment, which is stand here, get in the way, get beat up. And that's your lot on TV this week. So that's sad for him. Then we go to the ring where Cody's music hits and he makes his entrance. Normal service fully resumed this week. Fully suited and booted and all of the entrance pyros, etc. Cole tells us that KO is here and has a sit-down interview with him later. And Cody is back to his full-on, what do you want to talk about? And he goes on to speak about the upcoming Saturday night's main events, which I think I figured out we can watch in the UK on WWE's YouTube channel. If it's not aired in the UK via that means, you can defo watch it via YouTube in Spain. So as long as you have a VPN, you should be good to watch. So I'm good, which is good. At least I don't have to miss out. Cody goes on to say that it's the honour of his life to take part in main event and to have his name associated with those who have gone before on that show. But he says that it isn't that simple because of KO. The crowd boos, and before he can go on, we get American Made coming out, and Cody looks as surprised as the rest of us. They look pretty cool, all suited up themselves, including Ivy Nile. Chad Gable has the mic and says you may be asking yourself why the greatest athlete to come out of Minneapolis is here tonight. He says that the transfer window is about to open and he had a call from Nick Aldis about coming to SmackDown. He says he is from Minneapolis and he knows the people are a bit simple, which seems rude. He says he's going to speak the truth to Cody and to them. Chad says when Cody came back, he was an inspiration as he looks the part, carries himself like a champion, lives it, etc., etc. He says, but that's the easy part, and what is hard is being a good friend like KO. And he says he knows a little bit about that from his experience with Otis. He says when he was at rock bottom, Otis left him just like Cody did to KO. Chad says Cody is the definition of superficial. All he cares about is what others think of him. He says whatever Cody has coming to him, he deserves it. Cody says he's disappointed in Chad as he sees a lot of himself in Chad. And he says that he should know about failure and maximising his minutes as he was Shorty G. Which was great, and the crowd start chanting Shorty G. To be fair, Cody says you're looking at Stardust. So a bit of a nod to some previously really crappy characters that they've both had. Cody says he bets Chad thinks he has nothing to lose, but he does. He has his group, and he talks the rest of American Made up. Chad stops him and says if he didn't have his suit on, he would whoop his ass. And I think we can all see where this is going. Cody says go back, speak to Nick Aldis, and let's have a match later tonight. Okay. I have issues with this. For a starter, lame excuse. Why are you here, American Made? Have you not heard of Teams or email? Just seems like a weak excuse to get a hometown star on the card tonight, which is okay, I guess. So ignore the brand split again and have Chad on, fine. But against Cody, there's no reason why Chad would pick a fight with Cody. He's so far outside of the title picture, it literally makes no sense. The only way this is anywhere close to okay is if we get some kind of angle with KO or something interfering later on and that story somehow develops. But even so, I'm afraid to say, a lame-ass start to tonight's show, in my opinion, hoping this gets better, especially as I've got up to watch it live, which is annoying. So Cole goes on to explain a bit more about this transfer window being open, and it's in relation to all the programming changes coming up over the next month or so. So apparently we've got the NXT, Raw and SmackDown GMs working together. So some call-ups and some shake-ups will be pretty welcome, I guess. We go backstage and we have Bianca and Naomi looking at each other's ouchies from War Games. Bianca says that now War Games is out of the way, she can focus on who hurt Jade. Naomi says she's with her all the way, but she just needs to have her triple threat match. Chelsea and Piper come in, taking the mick out of Bianca for losing her match and for being WWE's Nancy Drew, which was a brilliant line. Bianca says maybe it was Piper who took out Jade, as she wasn't at ringside that night. Piper takes exception and offers to put Bianca in the hospital bed next to Jade, and then Piper and Chelsea beat up Bianca, leaving her on the floor. So the mystery deepens. Was it Piper? I don't think so. That seems a bit obvious, but maybe it is obvious. I mean, it's WWE, not Line of Duty. But this should be a fun story, and it should be fun to see it all get revealed. And I'm really pleased that Piper and Chelsea continue to be in the picture and featured prominently. So we now have our first in-ring action, and it's one of the triple threat matches for the Women's US title. We've got Tiffany Stratton versus Elektra Lopez versus Naomi. Tiffany, as always, out to a huge pop. Embarrassingly, Elektra barely registers a peep, and Naomi a good pop as usual. We get a reminder that Elektra is the only woman in this match to have not been involved in War Games this week. I mean, you're not kidding. She's the only woman on the roster that I don't think I've ever actually seen in a wrestling match. So, yeah. As we kick off this match, Tiffy and Naomi pick up where they left off from Survivor Series and start to beat down on each other. Elektra, to be fair, is doing okay. She's in with Tiffany, and she gets an early cover and takes Naomi out on the outside. Tiffany starts to show her class, getting a cover on Elektra Lopez and following up with one of her gymnastic tumble moves into the corner. Naomi back in what looks like a really botchy botch in the corner, followed by a, in quote marks here, kick to the head of Tiffany that clearly missed. What the hell is going on? The common denominator between the recent botchiness in the women's matches does seem to be Naomi, which is really disappointing, and I hope they can sort it out. Cole reminds us that this is also Tiffany's home crowd. I didn't realise, but that explains why the crowd are so behind her. All three women are now back in the ring. Tiffy and Elektra working together to try and take out Naomi, but Naomi manages to hit a double stunner. And as she goes to follow up on Tiffany, she gets lumped in the face and then taken out on the apron, where Tiffany delivers a double-footed kick that had some real beans behind it and actually looked like it hurt, leaving Naomi down on the apron. We then see it in slow motion, and yeah, it was a big hard kick. Elektra is now back in, and Tiffany delivers a snap suplex and a cover, but Elektra manages to get out and gets a half crab on Tiffy in the centre of the ring. Elektra drops it as Naomi comes back in. We get several pins from all the women, resulting in everyone getting a near fall. And Elektra with a good cover on Naomi that she barely manages to kick out of. Lopez trash talking at the crowd and delivers a massive Blue Thunder bomb and covers only for Tiffany to break it up to another massive pop from the crowd. Naomi hits rear view on Tiffany and is about to put Lopez away when Candice appears from nowhere and distracts her just enough. Naomi does hit a split leg moonsault this time, but As she is in the cover, Tiffany comes off the top rope with a swanton, breaking things up. She dispatches Naomi, goes up to the top, hits her prettiest moonsault ever, and gets the win. So I was really pleased to see Tiffany get the win tonight. She was on fire. Naomi, unfortunately, not on great form, and Elektra Lopez did a decent enough job. So it'll be Tiffany taking on Meechin in next round of the tournament. This has been the least good of these triple threats so far. Still perfectly fine, and looking forward to see how the whole tournament progresses. But as I said, a little bit disappointing how many botches we're getting at the moment. As Cole and Corey are giving us the rundown of the match we've just seen, they make out like they're hearing something in their ears and tell us that something is going on backstage. We then go to Byron, who is backstage, and we see the Street Profits have been beaten up in the back. Nick Aldis, or Oblivion the Gladiator as we know him, is there, and Byron asks him for a comment. He says all he knows is they were attacked and they're hurt badly, needing medical attention. So I guess that's them out of their title match tonight. Assumption is this is Tommaso Ciampa's handiwork, and maybe an effort to get DIY a title match later. Remember last week Ciampa gave Johnny a week to sort it out, so maybe this is his way of sorting it out. Let's see. We don't have to wait long, because as Nick is walking away from the situation, the Motor City machine guns appear, asking what's happened, and Johnny turns up suggesting that DIY take the place of the Profits tonight. Nick somewhat reluctantly agrees, as do the Motor City machine guns, and Nick tells Johnny he better not get any trouble from Ciampa. We now have Bianca coming out to the ring for a match. She is selling her injured ribs big time. She's going to be facing Piper Niven. As we kick off, we have Bianca trying to power out against Piper, and she does have the upper hand at first. Piper hits crossbody off the ropes, absolutely flattening Bianca. Now she's in charge, working on her injured ribs. Chelsea gets involved, grabbing Bianca and opening up Piper to deliver a sidewalk slam for a close 2 count. And as we come back from the break, Piper is in charge and still working the injured ribs of Bianca. Chelsea still making her presence felt ringside. And Piper hits 2 mad-looking sentons, one on the front of Bianca and one on the back, and goes for a cover, which Bianca kicks out of in 2. Bianca looks in trouble as Piper puts on a bear hug, lifting Bianca right off the floor, but Bianca manages to fight out and starts a fight back, but Piper again puts her down with a headbutt to regain control. Belair tries to choke out Piper from behind, but is literally swatted off like a fly. She misses a senton, and Bianca now has the upper hand. She hits Piper's head off the ring post a few times, and Bianca hits a crossbody from the top. Piper kicks in 2. And then Bianca is put on Piper's shoulders, but Bianca manages to fight out and spears Niven with another 2 count. Bianca trying to lift Piper for a KOD, but gets countered with a belly to back suplex. Bianca manages to counter the following move with a spine buster. We then get Piper going for an inverted disaster in the corner, but Bianca moves out of the way. And Piper hits Piper Driver and gets a so close 2 count. The crowd are chanting, "This is awesome." And they are right, this is a great match. Bianca gets Piper up for the KOD, which she drops onto Chelsea, who she'd previously dispatched into the ring, gets the cover and wins. I think this was an absolutely awesome match, which I'm so relieved to see after a couple of recent not so great women's matches. Brilliant. These 2, 3, if you count Chelsea, who had a part to play here, were awesome. Bianca is so much more than half of a tag team. I say let's take the belts off Bianca and Jade on medical grounds and set Bianca free to go on a tear. And then let's just see what happens with Jade once she comes back. But this just sells it to me that Bianca needs to be in singles action. She's phenomenal. To be fair, as is Piper. What a great talent. So far removed from those awful dewdrop days, and working with Chelsea is an excellent foil for her. So, I mean, this was top. A+. What a great match. We then go backstage to a room where they're preparing for a KO Cole sit down, and Cole says he will try and get to the bottom of KO's ever-changing demeanour. Good luck with that. We then get a vignette having a look at Shinsuke and his journey since coming back and winning the US title in quite short order. Back from the break, we get Bianca back with Naomi, and I noticed that in the background of this shot we've got Dirty Dom talking to Nick Aldis. Could that be another transfer window thing? That's quite exciting. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Anyway, back to Bianca and Naomi. Byron comes over and says to Bianca that he saw Piper in Gorilla at the time of Jade's attack, so he knows that she couldn't possibly have done it. Is there anyone else that she thinks might be in the frame? She lists the usual suspects, the likes of Nia, Liv, and says that whoever it is, she will end them on sight once she figures it out. Do we think it could be Bayley? I don't think so. I think Bayley spent a long time as a heel, and I think we're quite enjoying her as a face, but could be Bayley, could be Charlotte, could be someone we don't know from NXT, and that could all be wrapped up in this transfer window thing. Let's see. Anywho, we now get Shinsuke coming out, loving his new music. I think they've given it some real menace by slowing it down, so it's the same music, but just sounds much more doomy. It matches his evil personality perfectly. While he's in the ring, we get LA Knight coming out, and he looks all business. He tells Shin he is a sorry example of a US champ. It was a cheap shot and a cheap victory. He says he wants his rematch, and he wants it now. Shinsuke stands there looking like, as Knight says, looking dumb as a box of rocks. He gets into the ring, as Shin isn't saying anything, and then as he steps into the ring, we get Andrade out, saying he is there for Nakamura. And then, randomly, and out of absolutely nowhere, we get Tamatonga and Jacob Fatu appear, and just beat the hell out of Knight and Andrade. Interestingly, they leave very sinister looking Shinsuke Nakamura alone, as he obviously bites whatever capsule he had in his mouth, but makes him leak black crap out of the corner of his mouth. Looks pretty nasty. They leave him alone. The 3 remaining members of the new bloodline continue to beat down Knight, and Solo grabs the mic. He says anyone who thinks the bloodline is finished or weak just because he lost at War Games and lost 2 members should come and step up, as this is what will happen. He says he's tired of not being taken serious. He says he's still the tribal chief and the head of the table, and he challenges anyone to come down to the ring and tells them if they do, they will end up acknowledging him. Corey says the mood of the bloodline could spell disaster for the rest of the roster. I think, well, at least the number's now even with the OG bloodline, and clearly the new bloodline are, let's say, overcompensating for being the losers at War Games. I'm sure that's what tonight's beatdowns have all been about. So that's a fun story, and that obviously CM Punk, we know, is not going to be a permanent member of the OG bloodline. And with Jimmy out, that does even up the numbers, so perhaps we could get some kind of reduced numbers rematch or something. Let's see where we go. We now go backstage where we see Johnny getting ready for the match with Ciampa, who is still not happy, and he says he still didn't get an answer from Johnny. He says, I guess we will see, and I guess we will. KO has sent Cole a message via social media that he made in his car in the parking lot. He says it sucks getting called for an interview with Cole in Minneapolis. He isn't going to go into the arena. He says if Cole wants to interview him, he can come and find him outside and interview him in his car. To be honest, Cole seems quite hesitant, and who can blame him? The mood KO is in right now. He might abduct him in his car or something. But let's see what Cole does with that. We've now got the tag team title match between the Motor City Machine Guns and DIY. As DIY come out, Johnny's his normal self. Ciampa looks absolutely furious and definitely doesn't look to be on the same page as Johnny. Ciampa right on the bell, goes for Saban and has him in the corner, beating him down, but he manages to fight back with some great quick moves and has the upper hand. He makes a tag to Shelley, and they pull off some awesome double team moves, getting a close cover. Johnny is tagged in and then tagged straight out and by Ciampa, who's mad as hell, shouting at Johnny to get out. Shelley hits a back elbow and makes another quick tag as Saban comes back in. Again, a double kick on the outside, and as we come back from the break, Ciampa is back on top, which is obviously not where we left it, but let's not go down that rabbit hole tonight. Never mind. Ciampa with a huge kick. He was going for Shelley in the corner, but ends up taking out Johnny, and he doesn't look sorry. Ciampa goes for his fairy tale ending, but it's countered. And another tag made to Saban, who is absolutely motoring, and takes out Johnny again on the outside. He hits a crossbody from the top on Ciampa, who kicks in two. Tag is made again, Shelley in, and we get some even more awesome double team moves. This team is just phenomenal. It's like they can read each other's minds. You can tell they've worked together for literally ages. Johnny now back up on the apron and is tagged back in. He rolls Shelley back in, but Ciampa isn't happy with him, and he walks away shouting, "We're done." The ref is distracted by Ciampa as he brings a chair to the ring, and as that's happening, Johnny hits a low blow behind his back. Ciampa then comes in and they hit meet in the middle, and we have new tag team champs as DIY. So it looks like we have our answer. Johnny turns heel and joins Ciampa on the dark side, which is brilliant. I'm really excited to see how this partnership goes. And although it was only a short title run for the Motor City Machine Guns, they've got absolutely mad skills. So I'm sure they will get another run soon enough. And now the crowd know them, it can only get better and better for them. The men's tag team division on SmackDown is hotting up right now, and I'm absolutely loving it. They had the wool well and truly pulled over my eyes for sure. I never saw that coming. I was completely bought into the fact that Ciampa was really cross with Johnny, and that they were probably going to have some kind of catastrophic meltdown tonight, but it turns out it was all a ploy, and they'd obviously planned this out. Johnny does not look sorry at all, and new champs. Cole's heading out to interview KO in his car, which is unusual and brave. As we come back from the break, we have DIY backstage with Candice, so now the whole group are all heels, which is interesting, a really good angle. We see Cole getting into KO's car, and Cole slightly goes on the attack and says, "How long are you keeping this up?" KO says he's been banned from all the SmackDowns recently, so he's getting in first. Cole says he was going to give a non-biased interview with KO, who replies, "That'll be the day." Cole says that isn't fair, he doesn't understand. KO says that he can't understand why Cole doesn't see things his way, and he goes on a rant about Cody and his pyro and his logo being everywhere. The rant itself is pretty much the same as what we heard last week. Cole says it's also Jay, Jimmy and Sammy who have sided with Roman, and KO says Cole doesn't have any friends, so he doesn't understand. Cole says he is just being petty and that KO is the problem. KO then chucks him out of the car. So we didn't really learn anything new. I guess this was more of an opportunity really for us to see KO descending further into himself and his hatred for Cody, which it's managed to do. I say again, this match at Saturday night's main event does not need the title involved, but it is, and there we go. On a side note, I'm absolutely loving the graphics and the music for Saturday night's main event. It's so retro. I am looking forward to seeing what they make of it. We then get Gunther coming out of Nick's office. They are selling this transfer window hard. Carmelo comes along and tells Nick Aldis he needs to figure out where Melo fits in, or else he will go to Raw. Nick says that sounds more like a celebration than a threat. If Adam Pearce got the headache that is Melo. But as it happens, he does have someone in mind for him. And as Melo is congratulating himself, Nick disappears. And when Melo turns back around, he's just met with a closed door, which I think is a lot of fun. We now go on to the main event for tonight, Cody versus Chad. Chad comes out obviously with the whole of America made and is getting the full Kurt Angle "you suck" treatment. As we kick off with some impressive moves from both, Chad goes for an ankle lock early on, but Cody kicks him off and they face off again. We get a sucker punch from Cody, and Cody gets him up for a face-first suplex, and we get a Ivy Nile acting as a distraction on ringside. Chad's starting to focus on Cody's ankle, and as we come back from the break, Gable is still in charge, and as Cody in the corner, Gable goes for the ankle lock, but it's broken up by the ropes. Gable remains in charge, goes to the top, hits a flying headbutt, going for the pin, but Cody kicks in too. Gable then goes back to the top, but is met by Cody, who hits an inverted suplex, and we get Cody with some punches to Gable, and a power slam and a disaster kick. Cody hits Cody Cutter, but the Creed brothers pull Gable out of the ring, and that prompts the ref to send the rest of American Made back to the locker room. Gable takes off Cody's boot and applies the ankle lock. Cody's able to reverse and sends Chad into the turnbuckle. Cody hits Cody Cutter, followed by an attempted crossroads, but Gable counters, and we go back into the ankle lock. Gable hits a German suplex and looks for the moonsault, but Cody moves, this time hitting Crossroads for the 3 count and the win. Just as you think it's all over, we get KO appearing, stamping on Cody's naked ankle. Cody tries to fight back, and the ring fills up very quickly with refs and officials. Cody breaks free, and the two men start to brawl outside the ring. We go off air as the brawl continues. So I guess the point of this match, in the end, was to show us Cody getting an ankle injury, to add some flavour to the KO match. The match itself was okay. No, that's not fair. The match itself was good, but pointless, really. I mean, are we actually to believe that Gable would want anything to do with Cody? I don't think so. As expected, KO made his appearance at the end, ramping things up for their match next Saturday. Tonight's show, I thought, was sadly below par and nowhere as good as the episode of Raw we got on Monday. The highlight of the night, for me, was the Bianca Piper match. And I also very much enjoyed the Motor City Machine Guns DIY heel turn angle. Is interesting, but the show in its total has left me a little bit meh. I guess it's Christmas season, and traditionally we always see a lull in the storylines. Let's hope for better next week in what will be the go-home SmackDown before Saturday night's main event. I guess we can say that. And then obviously we've got quite an exciting week next week. So let's hope this was just a one-off blip and that we are going to do better next week. So I'm sorry that I've been a bit of a whinge bag this week, but I can only say what I feel. I'd be interested to know what you guys think, so please write into Matt on the mailbag and let's hear your opinions of SmackDown. And that just about does it for this week. As always, thank you for having me in your ears, and until next time, remember, be kind.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.